let us explain the statement that is the laws of nature are the same everywhere. The phenomena may differ from place to place. The statement is again the laws of nature are same everywhere in the universe, but the phenomena may differ from place to place. To understand this statement, let us consider the example of the earth and the moon. So suppose in our solar system we are residing on the earth. This is say our earth, and consider another thing, that is moon, that is lying somewhere around the earth at certain distance from the earth. Now this is earth and this is moon. Now the atmosphere of moon is such that the gravitational force will work on the moon is equals to the sixth of the gravitational force on the earth. So that gravitational force on the earth is equals to Fg, while the gravitational force on the moon is equals to Fg by 6. That is also true in the term of acceleration. But here the phenomena due to the condition, that is different condition of the atmosphere, the Fg on earth is very much greater than Fg of the moon. But here the law is what? That is gravitation. So that law will act over there, but the phenomena is different from place to place. Earth is one place, moon is another place. So the phenomena will have different values, but the law that is of the nature, that is same everywhere in the universe. So this is the example that may be asked for the question answering. That is good one. Now another thing that we have to remember regarding the laws of the nature. Here we are considering that there are basically 4 laws of the nature that are acting in the universe, which we will consider. So first of all, we say that energy conservation law. So there are basically 4 conservation laws are there. Out of that, first one is energy conservation law. What is this conservation means? So first of all, we will understand what this conservation means. So conservation means to remains as it is with time. So should not change with time, shouldn't with time, or we can say that remains constant. In other word, it is that remains constant for the given object. So here we have one very well popular statement for the energy conservation, that we represent the energy, that is E total, as in general the sum of the kinetic energy of an object plus potential energy of an object. Practically it is also represented as a K plus U. Somewhere it is also written as a V, and this is called mechanical energy E. So this is one very popular equation in the nature, that the total energy of the universe remains constant. Energy can neither be created and nor be destroyed, but one form of energy can be converted into the other form, and therefore the total energy, that is called mechanical energy, remains constant. So that is called the energy conservation law. Now we will try to understand that how this law will explain in a simple term. So suppose we consider a very simple example with one reservoir over there. Consider that this is one reservoir. It is filled with water, fully filled with water. So water is fully filled over here. Now in this condition, fully it is full filled with water. So here water is fully filled. Now in this reservoir there are certain gates. We are provided certain gates. So we are here given gates of this reservoir, say 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Here 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 gates are given. Inside or the beside that gate, we also consider that here we are having some turbine like arrangement just below the gates. Here we consider some turbine like arrangement below the gates, and they are connected to some electrical instrument, and that can have some rotation. They are moving on their axis. Now what? Now suppose we open the gate of this reservoir. So it is obviously that as we open the gate of the reservoir, say this gate, that we open the gate of the reservoir over here, what we will find, that water will come out from the reservoir in the manner. So until the water was there inside the reservoir, it was in the form of potential energy. Until it was there inside the reservoir, it was stored. So it was there in the potential energy. But as soon we have opened the gate of the dam or the reservoir, it gets converted into the kinetic energy of water, and we say that water will flow and fall onto this turbine. Now all this water which is flowing now will have kinetic energy, which had earlier as a potential energy, that will convert it into kinetic energy. But any instant of time, if we sum up the kinetic energy, suppose at time t1 kinetic energy is k1 and potential energy is u1, and say at time t2 suppose kinetic energy is k2 and potential energy is u2, if we get the combination of this ku plus u2 or k1 plus u1, that is always same. So k1 plus u1 is equals to k2 plus u2. So this is called the conservation of energy. So from this we can say that the law of conservation of energy is always been followed. It is also explained with another example, that suppose we are having one ball with us. Now this ball is held in our hand, so we are holding it, and it is having potential energy U at the time when it is in a rest. Now we allow it to fall freely, so we say that we allow it to free fall. So it start moving after free fall. So initially we say that at t equals to 0 time it was only having potential energy, and k, that is kinetic energy, is considered as a 0. Now when it start free falling, gradually it is moving towards the ground. Obviously it is moving towards the ground. We say that this is ground and it is there, it is moving towards the ground. We consider its motion, so say it is moving towards the ground. In this manner it is coming towards the ground. At one instant, say it fall on the ground. Just before falling to the ground, just before this condition, when it falls to the ground, we consider that all that potential energy now will be converted into kinetic energy, and its potential energy at this instance becomes 0. Say this time will be t equals to t. So in this whole motion, that when the ball start falling from a stationary or rest condition to the moving condition up to it hits the ground, its whole potential energy will be converted into kinetic energy. So when the kinetic energy was initially 0, finally the potential energy will become 0. So here we can simply explain that one form of energy is converted into other form of the energy. So this is the best example for energy conservation law. Now second thing, that is electric charge conservation law. This is also very useful and very interesting part, that is electric charge conservation law. So electric charge is conserved. For that we have to consider one isolated system. So what is that isolated system? So initially first consider that we have some charge randomly distributed in the region. Say these are some charge particles. These are randomly distributed, say Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 up to Qn. So these are randomly distributed charge particles, all are charges. Now if anyhow or by some method, if we isolate some of the charges, so isolation means what? That means if we separate some of the charges from the remaining system, that means we separate all other charges from the remaining system like this. Say these charges are covered by this block, but some charges are supposed to be kept outside this field. Some q1 dash is there, q double dash is there, some other charge is still there. So all these charges are out of this box. So the charges which are inside this block are called isolated charges, and the charges which are outside, they are not isolated. So the rules is that electric charge for the isolated system remains constant. That means it will have no change in the electric charge if it is isolated from the other system or by the surrounding part. So that is the second important rule, that is called the electric charge conservation law. Now we will see that how the conservation law for the momentum will work. So for that, what we consider over here, that is the conservation law for the momentum. That is, momentum conservation law will have two different statements regarding their application. One, momentum, there are two type of momentum. In detail we will learn it. So one, that is linear momentum, and second, that is angular momentum. So what is the statement for the linear as well as angular momentum conservation law? The statement is like that: if external force is 0, then linear momentum of the system remains constant, and it is the linear momentum conservation law. In a similar manner, we have angular momentum conservation law. It states that if external torque is 0, now what is torque, that we will learn in chapter number 7. So if external torque is 0, then angular momentum of the system, that is indicated by L, remains constant. So momentum, linear momentum, it is indicated by small p, and angular momentum, that is indicated by L. So both are vector quantities, both are having their own conservation law. That one is a linear momentum conservation law which deals with force, while second is angular momentum conservation law that deals with the torque. So all these two quantities we will learn in future. So here, momentum conservation law, energy conservation law, and electric charge conservation law. So there are basically 4 conservation laws that we have learned. Now the more interesting point, that another question, that the symmetry of nature with respect to translation in time is equivalent to the law of conservation of energy. Now this is again a question that may be asked. Again I am repeating, that the symmetry of nature with respect to translational in time is equivalent to the law of conservation of energy. Now, how to understand it? So, to understand this phenomena, we can simply take one example, that if we perform any experiment in any laboratory, then if we keep the same type of arrangement, same physical condition, same experiment perform in the same condition, then the result must remains constant, or it should be that. Now, this condition that we apply over here, that we perform an experiment in our laboratory right now, and we repeat the same experiment in the same physical conditions after 1 year or 2 years, the result are bound to be the same. This is obviously due to that the conservation of energy, or the law of the conservation of energy. So we can simply say that this symmetry of nature with respect to translational, this translation means the displacement in time, is equivalent to the law of conservation of energy. So here we simply say another example for that. We can say that space is homogeneous and there is no preferred location in the universe, or we can say that law of nature are same everywhere in universe. So this is the example of that homogeneity. We can simply explain this phenomena also. Suppose we are observing sky at night. Now we are staying at a certain place in one city. Now, suppose in the given city, on the earth, from the rooftop of the home, if we observe a particular arrangement of the sky, of the star in the sky, say we know one very well star arrangement of the Saptarishi, that is very well known arrangement of stars in the sky. We may have observed. Suppose it is the arrangement of the stars such that it makes this type of shape. Now, suppose we are living in Gandhinagar and we are observing these stars. So, if I am living in sector number 3 and some person is living in sector number 4. Say, if we are observing it from our house, we do not found that the location of the stars differ. Actually, our position are different, but with respect to this space, with respect to the sky, the difference of the displacement or the position of us are not that much important, and it is not observed. So we can say that the space is homogeneous and there is no preferred location in the universe. But obviously, if we follow the same thing from far away, that if the distance is very much away from the place, then a slightly different in the position of the observation of the stars may found, but that slightly is again negligible. So this is one condition that we found when we say that the space is homogeneous. And one more thing that we observe now, that is called the isotropicity of the nature. So another symmetry that we observe that the isotropy of the space underlies the law of conservation of angular momentum, and the conservation law of charge and the other attribute of the element particles can also be related to the certain abstract symmetries. So now we can explain that our space, our total overall arrangement, our orientation with respect to space is a following particular laws, and that laws are, we say that here, four laws, that is energy conservation law, then we say electric charge, so electric charge conservation law, then we have momentum conservation law, in which we say two type of momentum, one divided as a linear momentum and another that is angular momentum. So these are the conservation of different laws of the universe, and here these are the important information regarding these conservation laws.